Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight, we're stepping into a quieter corner of history. Not the battlefields, not the palaces, but the dim, forgotten rooms where medicine was still half magic, half guesswork, and sometimes beautifully wrong. Imagine the rain tapping softly outside, a summer storm brushing against old windows, while you sit in a warm little study that smells of parchment, dried herbs, and candle soot. Tonight, we turn the pages of a world where a single drop of syrup could silence a child, where glowing water was sold as sunshine in a bottle, where leeches were trusted more than logic, and where the line between cure and curse was as thin as a whisper in the dark. These are the strange, eerie, mesmerizing medical secrets they never taught you in school, but whispered quietly through the centuries. So, before you get comfortable, take a gentle moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if these deep sleep history stories help you find peace, sleep better, or simply reflect on our shared journey through time. Now, close your eyes, let your shoulders soften, and drift with me into the darker, stranger side of healing, where every remedy tells a story, and every story brings you one breath closer to sleep. Imagine, just for a moment, that the year is 1830. The world is quieter, slower, and wrapped in the soft, golden haze of oil lamps. You wake with a headache that presses gently behind your eyes, the kind that makes the morning feel heavier than it should. Instead of reaching for medicine, because none of the pills we know today exist, you make your way through the narrow streets to visit a physician. His clinic smells faintly of old books, dried herbs, and something metallic lingering in the air. He greets you with a calm nod, the kind that suggests he has seen this 1,000 times before, and perhaps even believes he already knows the perfect remedy. You sit down, expecting a tea, a tonic, maybe a warm compress. Instead, he reaches for a small, round glass jar. Inside, something moves, something alive. A slick, dark green creature glides slowly along the curve of the glass, as if tasting the air for its next guest. The doctor opens the lid with a practiced hand, smiles in a way that is both reassuring and strangely unsettling, and gently places the creature directly onto your forehead. A leech. Cool, soft, and oddly determined. It clings to your skin as if it had been waiting just for you. In that moment, you might feel a shiver, not from fear, but from the unfamiliar sensation of a tiny mouth anchoring itself to your flesh. Yet in 1830, no one panicked, no one screamed. This was medicine. This was science. This was believed to be balance restored. European society at the time had an almost romantic devotion to these little creatures. Bloodletting was not seen as primitive or dangerous, but as an elegant solution to nearly every ailment. Fever? Take some blood. Stress? Take some blood. Achy joints? A bit more blood. They believed the human body held reservoirs of bad blood, and by letting it flow out, sometimes slowly through leeches, sometimes more dramatically through surgical lancets, they could release sickness itself. A tidy sort of housekeeping, though one that left you a little pale afterward. Parisian women, always seeking beauty and vitality, became so enchanted with the idea that they engineered dresses designed specifically for leech placement. Layers of fabric concealed the small creatures working quietly beneath. Imagine an afternoon tea on a shaded terrace, delicate porcelain cups, gentle laughter, the rustle of silk, and hidden beneath it all, a tiny creature doing its nightly job. To them, it was refinement. To us, perhaps something between bravery and quiet horror. But tonight, those leeches are only memories, resting safely inside sealed jars in forgotten apothecaries, far from your pillow, far from your dreams. Their faint, ancient presence lingers only as a whisper of the past, drifting gently as you breathe slower and softer. And in the comfort of darkness, where the world finally loosens its grip on your thoughts, you are safe. There is nothing cold or crawling here. Only the soft unfolding of forgotten stories, guiding you into rest, where even the strangest corners of history become gentle enough to sleep beside. As the leech settles on your skin, imagine the room around you fading into a gentle blur, as if the world itself is stepping back to let this strange ritual unfold. The doctor watches closely, not with fear, but with the quiet confidence of someone who believes nature is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Behind him, shelves lined with labeled jars, fever, melancholy, vapors, humors, stand like a library of forgotten theories, each one holding a promise that now feels oddly poetic in its innocence. In those days, the human body was not seen as a machine with organs and systems, but as a delicate balance of elements, warmth and cold, moisture and dryness, vitality and stagnation. And in the soft flicker of lamplight, the idea that a tiny creature could restore harmony didn't seem strange at all. It felt almost spiritual. People spoke of leeches the way we might speak of herbal tea or meditation now. A little unsettling at first, but comforting once you believed in the ritual. And rituals were powerful. Some physicians even carried velvet pouches filled with their best workers, carefully selected for their size and appetite, as if they were precious tools of the trade. They described them not as pests, but as partners. "My little physicians," one diary reads, "work tirelessly where my hands cannot reach." It is a strange tenderness, the kind that makes you wonder how many people found comfort not in the treatment itself, but in the feeling that someone or something was helping them. Meanwhile, patients would recline on fainting couches upholstered in soft fabrics, staring at painted ceilings while the gentle pulling sensation lulled them into a kind of dreamy surrender. Pain was not sharp. Bloodletting through leeches was subtle, a gentle coaxing rather than a forceful release. For many, it was the only moment in their day when they could lie still, close their eyes, and simply drift. In some towns, apothecaries kept entire rooms dedicated to storing leeches. Dark, cool spaces where hundreds of tiny bodies glided silently through water-filled basins. Children would peer in with equal parts fear and fascination, whispering stories of how each creature carried a secret knowledge of the human body. And in a way, they weren't wrong. Because leeches, unknowingly, did more than anyone understood back then. Their saliva contained anticoagulants, numbing agents, and natural compounds that kept blood flowing and inflammation low, a biological magic that science would only rediscover centuries later. But to the people of 1830, these creatures were still something between healer and omen. Some believed they absorbed not only bad blood, but also bad luck, bad dreams, or dark thoughts. They were tiny guardians against invisible troubles, silent companions that carried away more than illness. And when the treatment was done, when the leech, full and satisfied, loosened its grip and dropped gently into the waiting bowl, the doctor would inspect the slow trickle of blood with a serene nod, as if witnessing a small victory. "You will feel lighter," he would say, and perhaps you really would. Not because of the blood lost, but because of the quiet ritual, the strange tenderness, the belief that something had shifted within you. Tonight, you don't need leeches or doctors or old theories of humors drifting through candlelit rooms, but the comfort remains. The same slow exhale, the same feeling of heaviness leaving your shoulders, the same sense of being cared for in the soft darkness. And as your breath settles, you sink gently deeper into a place where even the oddest medical stories become nothing more than soft ripples guiding you toward rest, steady and serene like water settling in an untouched pond. Leaving the quiet world of leeches behind, we step softly into something brighter, more elegant, and infinitely more dangerous. Mercury. Liquid metal, silver that flows like water. Even today, when you imagine it pooling in the center of your palm, smooth and hypnotic, it feels like holding a fragment of the moon, a cold droplet of starlight trapped on Earth. There is something enchantingly deceptive about its beauty. It is weighty, yet effortless, fluid, yet impossible to grasp, a metal that behaves like a living thing. And perhaps that is why ancient people could never truly believe it meant them harm. In dimly lit rooms, lit only by the trembling glow of candles, mercury shimmered like pure magic. Alchemists whispered that it was the lifeblood of the earth, a material capable of transforming base metals into gold, curing disease, restoring vitality, even softening the harsh edges of time. No wonder emperors, scholars, and healers all leaned toward it with a quiet, desperate hope. One of the most tragic believers was Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. Obsessed with immortality, surrounded by thousands of servants, and lost inside a labyrinth of ambition, he swallowed mercury-based potions, believing each sip would carve his name deeper into eternity. Instead, it carved a quicker path toward it. His body, overwhelmed by the poison he mistook for salvation, surrendered long before his dreams did. Yet he was not alone. Across continents and centuries, mercury slipped into Western medicine like a seductive ghost with a silver mask. Physicians mixed it into balms for the skin, tonics for the nerves, and shimmering pills for constipation. Tiny metallic spheres swallowed with faith rather than understanding. Imagine sitting in a Victorian clinic, the doctor handing you a small blue pill that glints under the lamplight. He promises clearer skin, calmer thoughts, a stronger body. You believe him because everyone does. And for a while, nothing seems wrong, until your fingertips take on a pale shade, until your lips fade to a ghostlier tone, until slowly your entire complexion shifts into a grayish hue that looks less like health and more like moonlight drained of its warmth. But in a world where evenings were always dim, rooms were always smoky, and candlelight painted everything with soft edges, who would notice? Who would question the difference between a gentle pallor and the quiet touch of poison? In the 19th century, life moved slowly. Shadows lingered longer. People trusted what glimmered, what soothed, what promised a shortcut through suffering. Mercury shimmered like hope, and hope was something no one wanted to let go of. So in the soft hush of that era, this deadly liquid became a companion, faithful, beautiful, and quietly devastating. Tonight, as you lie here with your breath easing into its own rhythm, imagine the way those old glass jars once glowed on dusty wooden shelves, each filled with a beauty that misled even the wisest minds. The past is full of gentle illusions like this, shiny, comforting, and dangerous in ways no one could see until it was too late. But here, in the quiet of this moment, Mercury is nothing more than a drifting story, a shimmering memory settling at the bottom of a forgotten bottle. It cannot harm you, it cannot follow you. It can only lull you deeper, guiding you through the soft corridors of history, where even the most dangerous things simply glimmer and fade into sleep. So, if you could step quietly into a 19th century apothecary, you would notice something almost ethereal about the way mercury was kept. Among the wooden drawers and faded labels, there was always at least one glass vial glowing faintly in the dimness, as if it held a small captured star. People would lean in close, watching the metal swirl, mesmerized by how it broke into tiny droplets, only to fuse back together again, like thoughts scattering and then returning to a single calm center. It looked alive, not like a substance, but a presence. And in an age when the world felt larger, darker, and full of unanswered mysteries, anything that moved like magic was believed to possess a sliver of the divine. Physicians, scholars, even poets wrote about mercury as if it were both healer and muse. Some carried tiny vials in their coat pockets, shaking them gently during long walks as though consulting a silent oracle. Others kept bowls of mercury on their desks, claiming the shimmering surface helped them think more clearly, quieting the noise inside their minds. A few even swore it cured loneliness, that simply watching the liquid glide beneath candlelight made the evenings feel less hollow. and so people trusted it the way we trust calming rituals today. A warm bath, soft music, or a slow nighttime walk. It brought them peace, not because it was harmless, but because it was familiar, comforting, and elegant in its quiet danger. The tragedy was subtle. The poison worked slowly, folding itself into their daily routines until it became impossible to tell where the ritual ended and the damage began. Hat makers, those who shaped fine felt hats for gentlemen, worked with mercury vapors every day. Inside cramped workshops, steam rose in silvery waves as the metal was heated, drifting into the air like ghostly threads. At first, the workers simply felt lightheaded, but over the years the tremors came, hands shaking even at rest, thoughts scattering, words slipping away. They called it the trembling madness, never realizing that the very material giving hats their rich, elegant finish was quietly undoing their bodies. Those who lived near mines or workshops spoke of strange nights when metallic scents lingered in their homes, when dreams became vivid and restless, when they woke with hearts pounding for reasons they could not name. Mercury did not just poison, it haunted. Yet through all this, people still held on to the belief that beautiful things could not be dangerous, and mercury was beautiful, too beautiful to be feared. That beauty made it easy to forget the truth, just as the soft darkness of night sometimes makes our worries melt away. And perhaps that is why thinking about it now feels strangely calming, because from the safe distance of centuries, the danger becomes only a story, a quiet echo of lives long gone. Tonight, as you rest in the gentle hush of your own room, imagine the way mercury once shimmered in still bowls, reflecting candle flames like tiny dancing moons. It is peaceful to picture, soothing in a way the past often is when it can no longer touch us. That cold liquid silver, once trusted, once feared, now drifts only in memory, a soft reminder of how deeply humans longed for healing, beauty, and a little bit of magic. And in that longing, they found rituals that shaped entire eras, rituals that now flow softly around you, guiding your mind into deeper stillness, letting your breath slow, letting the world fade until only the gentle shimmer of sleep remains. Among all the strange remedies history has whispered into the dark, few are as quietly astonishing as the one we drift into now. It feels almost unreal, like something told around a candlelit table, just to provoke a gasp. And yet, it was real, entirely real. Imagine this, the idea that history itself could be swallowed, that the past could be consumed like medicine. And in the Victorian era, the answer would have been a serene, confident yes. Europe was utterly enchanted by ancient Egypt, not just curious, enchanted in the way a dream clings to your mind long after waking. Pharaohs, pyramids, sand-swept tombs. These images glowed like gold dust on the imagination of the West. And that fascination drifted into darker, stranger corners when merchants began selling something that should never have existed: powdered mummy. They called it mumia, a soft brown dust made by grinding the wrappings resin, and even the bodies of ancient Egyptian dead. It was placed into jars, sealed with wax, and sold as a remedy, powerful enough to carry centuries of life into the present. People believed that if a body had survived thousands of years, then consuming even a fragment of it must grant some echo of that endurance. It sounds impossible, absurd, even chilling, but in an age hungry for wonders, it felt like the closest thing to touching eternity. Now, picture a London apothecary in the year 1600. The wooden floor creaks beneath your feet as you step inside, the air filled with lavender, camphor, and the earthy scent of dried herbs. On a high shelf between neat bundles of licorice root and small bottles of rosewater stands a ceramic jar, plain, heavy, and unassuming. Its label reads only one word: mumia. You approach it the way someone might approach an artifact in a museum today, with reverence and curiosity. But 400 years ago, this jar was not something to observe. It was something to consume. The apothecary might lift the lid and show you the fine brown powder within. From a nobleman, he would say softly, as if introducing an old friend, 3,000 years preserved. And you might request that it be mixed with warm wine, or honey, or even hot chocolate. A strange blend, sweetness mingling with the dust of centuries. People believed this concoction could heal bruises, stop bleeding, lift fatigue, and extend life. As the mixture slid down their throat, they imagined themselves drinking not only medicine, but time itself, an elixir aged in the tombs of kings. And in that dim, slow-moving world, where death was always near and life felt fragile, hope could take any shape, even the shape of a forgotten pharaoh crushed into powder. Tonight, the thought feels distant, almost like a surreal dream. But the candlelit hush of those old apothecaries lives on in the quiet around you now. The same hush, the same longing for comfort, the same desire to hold on to something ancient and steady as the night deepens around your thoughts. Let that softness settle. Let it drift. For now, the past is only a gentle murmur guiding you deeper into calm, away from the strange hunger of centuries long gone.
So, if you follow the trail of this strange practice a little further, you'll find that mumia was more than just a powder in a jar. It became an entire belief woven quietly into the medical culture of Europe for centuries. Physicians recommended it with calm authority, apothecaries displayed it proudly, and wealthy families kept small containers of it in their homes, nestled beside perfumes in spice boxes like a treasure of peculiar origin. To them, it wasn't macabre, it was simply medicine. Something ancient, powerful, and touched by mystery. Imagine seated in a candlelit parlor as a gentle rain taps against the window. A noblewoman feels faint after a long evening, her cheeks pale, her hands trembling slightly. A servant brings her a small cup, warm wine gently stirred with mummy powder. She drinks it slowly, believing she is swallowing strength, resilience, a whisper of the desert kings whose bodies had defied time. And there is something strangely comforting in the thought, even if not in the reality. Because the Victorians were not seeking morbidity, they were seeking continuity, a way to bridge the fragile present with the endurance of the past. And for them, the past was not something trapped in museums or textbooks. It was something alive, something that could be touched, consumed, absorbed. A strange kind of communion with history. Some travelers returning from Egypt spoke of auction houses where entire mummies were sold to European buyers, not for study, not for preservation, but for the quiet, profitable purpose of grinding them down. Traders debated which bodies were the finest quality, as though speaking of rare spices. Darker rumors claimed that when real Egyptian mummies ran short, vendors dug up recently buried corpses just to meet the demand. Whether entirely true or embellished, such stories reveal an uncomfortable truth. The hunger for miracle cures often pushed people beyond the boundaries of respect, ethics, or sense. And yet, as unsettling as it sounds now, many who consumed mumia felt reassured by it. The flavor was masked by honey or wine, the powder indistinguishable from any other brown spice. What mattered wasn't the taste, it was the belief. A belief that something ancient could steady the trembling uncertainties of life. In the flickering candlelight of those old rooms, you might imagine the powder drifting slowly through warm liquid, settling at the bottom like a trace of desert sand. People sipped quietly, as if participating in a sacred ritual, their breaths slowing, their eyes softening. Perhaps the greatest comfort did not come from the mummy powder itself, but from the stillness around them, the sense of being connected to something vast and old, something that had watched empires rise and fall. Tonight, as you sink deeper into calm, imagine that same stillness. Not the powder, not the ritual, but the feeling of being held gently by time, as though the centuries lean close to whisper, "You are safe here." The oddities of history lose their sharpness in the soft dark. They become distant lanterns, glowing faintly, guiding you away from worry and deeper into rest. And just like that, the strange banquet of pharaohs fades into a quiet memory, dissolving like dust into warm honey, leaving nothing behind but a gentle hush drifting through your thoughts.
Would you drink a glass of water that glows softly in the dark? In the 1920s, this wasn't a trick of stage magicians or the dream of alchemists. It was fashion. It was luxury. It was health. People called it sunshine in a bottle, a radiant tonic promising to revive tired muscles, soften stiff joints, restore youth, sharpen vitality, even make your spirit feel lighter. But nestled inside that shimmering promise was something the world did not yet understand. Something that slowly, quietly ate away at the bones of those who adored it. Not with pain, not with warning, but with a soft, deadly patience. Tonight, though, we won't linger on fear. We'll drift instead through the glow of a strange era when science was new, curiosity was endless, and the world had just discovered a metal that shone brighter than any candle flame: radium. Imagine stepping into a general store in 1905. The bell above the door gives a gentle chime, and the air smells of soap, ink, and polished wood. Shelves stretch toward the ceiling, every jar, every box, every bottle whispering a promise. Between the teas and tonics sits something astonishing: toothpaste infused with radium salts, glittering faintly as though moonlight had been trapped inside the paste itself. A little further down the aisle, you would find radium chocolate, advertised as energy in its purest form. And tucked discreetly near the counter, folded like pieces of silvery magic, were undergarments woven with radium threads, believed to warm the body from the inside out. People didn't fear radiation then. They embraced it. It was the future, the beginning of a brighter world. And nothing embodied this hope more than a glowing drink called Radithor, bottled water infused with radium, sold for vitality, youth, and elegance. Eben Byers, a millionaire with charm, influence, and an appetite for the extraordinary, drank 3 bottles a day. He described the sensation as liquid sunshine, a warmth blooming through his chest, a spark behind his eyes, a belief that he was becoming stronger, younger, more vibrant. For a while, he really did feel that way. But radium works the way stars burn, not in a rush, but with steady, unstoppable force. It settled into his bones the way frost settles onto winter windows, quietly, beautifully, fatally. Yet the world remained dazzled. Imagine the soft glow of radium paint in a dark factory, where young women dipped tiny brushes to paint the hands of watches. Their laughter echoed in the dim room, their cheeks flushed with youth, their fingertips glowing like fireflies with every stroke. They dabbed the paint onto their nails, their teeth, their lips, just for fun, just to shine a little brighter in the world. Picture them stepping outside after work, turning their palms upward, watching the eerie green shimmer dance across their skin. It felt like magic. It looked like heaven. It was anything but. But tonight, in this gentle quiet, we focus not on tragedy, but on the soft beauty of that glow, the way it must have looked drifting across polished watch faces, swirling in glass bottles, blooming faintly through fabrics. A light too beautiful for its own good. A reminder that even the most dangerous things can shine softly, like secrets whispered through time. And as you breathe slowly now, imagine that glow fading, dimmer, softer, calmer, until it becomes nothing more than a distant lantern floating across the vast dark of history, guiding you gently toward rest. If you follow the glow a little deeper into that strange decade, you'll find yourself standing in factories where the air shimmered faintly, as though the walls themselves exhaled a ghostly green light. These were the workshops where the Radium girls worked, young women with steady hands and bright futures, painting tiny numbers onto watch dials so soldiers could read them in the dark. Their brushes were as thin as eyelashes. After each stroke, they shaped the bristles with their lips, a technique called lip pointing. Supervisors encouraged it, smiling proudly at how efficiently the girls worked, unaware, or perhaps unwilling to accept that each touch of the brush delivered a kiss of glowing poison. And yet, if you were there, listening to the hum of the workspace, you would only hear soft laughter, whispered secrets, and the steady rhythm of small brushes tapping glass. For them, the job felt like working with bottled moonlight. Some slipped a little paint onto their fingertips, admiring the way their nails glowed when the lamps were turned off. Others dotted tiny stars along their cheeks, transforming themselves into constellations for just a moment before the foreman returned. It was innocent joy, wrapped in a radiance that no one yet understood. Meanwhile, Radithor continued to shine in sparkling glass bottles. Advertisements promised eternal vigor, perfect digestion, youth renewed at the cellular level. Newspapers praised radium medicine as the dawn of a new era. Even doctors, trained and respected, prescribed radium liberally, believing what they saw without questioning what they couldn't. And Marie Curie herself, brilliant and devoted, carried radium in small vials tucked inside her pockets. Late at night, when she walked through dark hallways, the vials glowed with a soft bluish light, gentle, ethereal, beautiful. She loved the glow, never imagining it might shorten her life. Hope can make even danger look like a lantern leading the way. Back in the factories, the girls began to notice small things first. A tooth that felt loose, a bruise that didn't fade, a stiffness in the jaw, like the hinge of a door catching on rust. They shrugged it off. Youth encourages faith in resilience. But radium works in silence, settling into bones like snowfall, not soft, not cold, but permanent. Inside their bodies, the glow remained long after the laughter faded. And yet tonight we do not dwell in sorrow. Instead, imagine the glow not as danger, but as memory, a soft halo from a time when the world was learning, stumbling, dreaming too brightly. Picture a glass of Radithor resting on a polished table, its contents faintly shimmering like water lit from beneath by moonlight. Imagine the Radium girls walking home under street lamps, unaware of their radiance, leaving gentle traces of light in the night like drifting fireflies. The past is often both beautiful and tragic, intertwined like threads in an old tapestry. Through the lens of sleep, the sharpness blurs, leaving only the soft colors, the gentle patterns, the echoes of lessons learned too late. And tonight, as your breathing slows, let those echoes guide you, not toward fear, but toward the calm that comes from understanding how far we have come. Radium no longer shines in medicine bottles. The factories are silent now, their windows dusty, their tools asleep. What remains is only the glow of history, dim, distant, soothing, like a final lantern carried down a quiet hallway, its light fading, but peaceful, guiding you deeper into rest, deeper into stillness, deeper into the soft cradle of sleep.
If you had slipped beneath the gray waters of the River Thames in the 18th century, gasping for air that never reached your lungs, the hands that pulled you from the river would not prepare for chest compressions or steady breaths of rescue. Instead, they would reach for a long wooden case, hinged, polished, and packed with the tools of a method that now feels too strange to be real. A small tin furnace, a brass nozzle, a leather bellows, an elegant, grim invention known as the tobacco smoke enema. And as odd as it sounds in the softness of tonight, it was practiced with absolute seriousness by gentlemen in powdered wigs who believed they were calling you back from the edge of the underworld. Imagine the scene as though it were unfolding in slow motion. A foggy afternoon along the Thames, everything muted, the clop of carriage wheels, the distant call of boatmen, the dull rhythm of water against stone. A crowd gathers with the quiet urgency of people who know the river claims lives without hesitation. Someone kneels beside the unconscious body, soaked and pale, water dripping like small beads of glass onto the cobblestones. Another man opens the wooden case, his face solemn, as though he is preparing the tools for a sacred ritual. To them, this was not comedy or cruelty, it was medicine. They believed that smoke carried heat, stimulation, and revival, that if a body had gone cold, the best way to fight the cold was to warm it from within, and the quickest doorway into the body's deepest corridors, they thought, was through the gut. The bellows fill with smoke, warm, fragrant, drifting like a ghost through the ready metal tube. A doctor leans forward, placing the instrument with a precision learned from years of practice, then squeezes the bellows gently, once, twice, 3 times. The plume enters the still body, curling invisibly through places no sunlight ever touches. Onlookers watch in breathless silence, waiting, hoping, believing. The logic is strange now, in the soft hush of this room, but in their world, where science was young and fear was constant, people clung to any idea that sparkled with hope. Tobacco had a reputation for stimulation. Its warmth was associated with life, with breath, with the returning of lost spirits.
And so smoke became a lifeline, blown tenderly into those pulled from the river's grip. Beside the Thames, small rescue stations stood at intervals like quiet guardians, each equipped not with modern defibrillators, but with brass pipes and small furnaces ready to glow with burning tobacco. To walk along the river then, in the cool, misty dusk, was to pass by these silent kits of salvation, each waiting for the moment when cold water and human fragility met. And though the practice seems absurd now, there was a gentleness to it, a belief that warmth could coax the soul back into its house of bone. Tonight, as we drift through the fog of centuries, let that gentleness settle around you. Let the absurdity soften into something distant, harmless, almost dreamlike. These strange cures of history are only stories now, like smoke dissolving into air, leaving no trace but the faint memory of warmth.
Walk a little farther along the Thames, and you would find another rescue kit tucked beneath a wooden awning, waiting quietly like a guardian that never slept. Inside each kit, the same brass nozzle gleamed faintly, catching what little daylight filtered through London's fog. To the people of that century, these tools were not peculiar. They were symbols of preparedness, of compassion, of a world trying, clumsily, earnestly, to understand life and death. And sometimes it is the earnest attempts that survive longest in memory. Imagine a cold evening when the river looked almost metallic, its surface rippling with dull silver under a sky the color of wet stone. A fisherman shouts for help as he drags someone ashore. Boots splash against shallow water, coats flap in the wind. The smell of tobacco drifts from the small furnace as it begins to glow. You might expect panic, but instead there is a strange calm, a rhythm. The doctor kneels down, his expression steady, his movements unhurried, as though he believes the river only borrows souls and will return them if gently persuaded. He lifts the bellows and watches smoke rise, thin ribbons twisting like soft breath from an invisible creature. And for a moment, it looks almost tender, like a lullaby sung in the form of vapor. In their world, heat meant life, cold meant death creeping inward, and tobacco smoke with its warm bite was thought to coax the body back toward its own spark. Some treatments were even gentler. Physicians burned herbs, warmed blankets by the fire, or poured hot broth between someone's lips, believing warmth could guide them home. Compared to those, the tobacco smoke enema was simply the boldest expression of the same belief: heat as medicine, smoke as salvation. As years passed, the practice expanded beyond drownings. People began using it for stomach aches, headaches, even melancholy. A whiff of smoke here, a gentle puff there. Each treatment delivered with quiet confidence. It might seem humorous now, in the soft calm of this moment,
But imagine living in a world where doctors carried pocket watches instead of stethoscopes, where diagnosis was done by candlelight, and every cure was born from observation, hope, and intuition. They did the best they could with the knowledge they had, and in some strange way, that sincerity is soothing. The river, year after year, watched them try. It watched them kneel beside victims, watched smoke curl upward into damp air, watched the bellows rise and fall like slow breathing. It watched belief take the shape of action. And tonight, as we drift through their memories, the river seems quieter, still flowing, still ancient, but softened by time, as though even it remembers the earnestness with which humans once fought to save each other. Let this scene settle into your mind the way fog settles over calm water. The quiet footsteps, the murmurs of hope, the warmth of smoke meeting cold air. Let the strangeness fade into gentleness, into an understanding that even the oddest parts of history once came from compassion. And as you breathe slowly now, imagine the smoke dissolving, thinning, fading into nothing, leaving behind only calm. The tools are gone, the bellows no longer move, the river still flows, but you are safe, warm, and far from its reach. Tonight, only the story remains, drifting softly across the centuries to meet you here, guiding you gently, steadily toward rest. If you wandered into a Victorian nursery late at night, you might be struck by how quiet it was. Too quiet. The kind of silence that feels padded and heavy, as though every sound has been wrapped in wool. In the dim glow of a single oil lamp, children slept with an unnatural stillness, their breaths slow, their hands curled softly beneath their cheeks. They looked peaceful, angelic even. But the secret behind that peace did not come from lullabies or gentle rocking chairs. It came from glass bottles with cobalt blue walls and labels written in cursive charm. Bottles called Mother's Friend, Godfrey's Cordial, Mrs. Winslow's Soothing Syrup. Sweet names, sweet labels, sweet promises. And inside, a darkness disguised as relief. Step into that room as though walking through a dream. You'd see a shelf lined with little bottles, each one catching the lamplight like frozen tears. The scent of sugar, fennel, and something faintly floral hangs in the air. A mother moves quietly across the floor, her skirts whispering against the wood, her eyes tired but grateful for the stillness. Earlier that evening, her child had been crying with the relentless misery of cutting new teeth, a kind of pain that shakes small bodies and tests big hearts. So she did what every other mother in her street had done. She went to the apothecary, placed a few coins on the counter, and walked home with a syrup that promised rest. She didn't know the bottle contained morphine mixed with alcohol, a combination potent enough to still any cry or any heartbeat. A few drops on a spoon, a soft touch on the lips, and the wailing stopped as though the night itself had pressed a finger to the child's mouth. To the exhausted mother, it felt like mercy. To the world now, it feels like tragedy wrapped in sweetness. Victorian drugs were everywhere, weaving through daily life like invisible threads. Laudanum, opium dissolved in wine, sat in nearly every kitchen cupboard. Doctors prescribed it for coughs, headaches, stomach aches, heartbreak, insomnia, and in some cases, boredom. In a society wrapped in fog where industrial smoke fused with sorrow, people believed that relief was worth any price. They didn't know the price would sometimes be a child's final breath. Mrs. Winslow's soothing syrup was marketed as a friend to mothers, a savior for restless babies. Advertisements showed cherubic infants smiling with perfect serenity. No one mentioned that serenity was borrowed from the poppy fields of distant lands, fields that would eventually spark global conflict and the opium wars that shaped entire empires. But inside that nursery, none of these darker truths existed. There was only a small bed, a soft blanket, a child in deep slumber, and a mother exhaling the first quiet breath she had taken all day. In this quiet moment, she believes she has done something loving, and perhaps that belief alone radiates its own kind of innocence. Tonight, we don't linger in judgment. We simply stand in the doorway of that bygone world, watching the lamplight tremble gently on old wallpaper, hearing the soft sigh of a mother easing into her chair. History has harsh edges, but time sands them down, leaving only a soft outline, something we can observe without fear. As you listen, let the strangeness of this forgotten medicine drift around you like slow-moving fog. No harm can reach you here. You are only a visitor, wrapped in quiet, watching the past melt into shadows.
So, if you stay a little longer in that quiet Victorian nursery, you'll notice something else. A soft, velvety hush that feels almost sacred. The kind of silence that makes the ticking of a small clock sound like distant footsteps. Outside the window, gas lamps flicker beneath a sky blurred with fog, casting gentle halos of light over cobblestone streets. Inside, the child sleeps on, motionless beneath a blanket embroidered with tiny stars. The air is warm, heavy with the sweetness of syrup and the faint perfume of poppies, as if the room itself has exhaled a sigh of relief. But beyond this stillness lies the wider world of the dark Victorian era, a world where sorrow and industry were woven so tightly together that people often forgot where one ended and the other began.
Laudanum bottles clinked in the pockets of poets, painters, widows, and weary workers. It dulled pain, softened heartbreak, and blurred the sharp edges of life. To the adults of that era, laudanum was a gentle escape. To the children, it was something far more dangerous. In many homes, the blue bottles were kept on shelves beside tonics and teas, not locked away. Mothers believed they were bringing mercy. They didn't know they were treading the thin line between sleep and forever. Imagine a mother rocking her baby in a wicker chair, humming a song she learned from her own mother, long before she ever knew the weight of exhaustion. She dips the spoon into the syrup again, just a single drop this time, careful, cautious, hoping it will calm her child without pushing too far. Her hands tremble slightly, not from fear, but from fatigue so deep it has no name. Outside, a carriage rattles by. A newspaper boy shouts headlines about distant wars. Wars fought over poppies and ports, trade routes and silver. The opium wars are reshaping empires far away, yet their shadows drift quietly into this little nursery through something as small and innocent as a spoonful of syrup. History echoes softly even in places that seem untouched by it. And in this room, that echo is a child in an impossibly deep sleep. The tragedy of the age was not born from cruelty, but from misunderstanding. No one meant harm. People trusted labels, trusted doctors, trusted tradition. They believed anything that tasted sweet couldn't possibly be dangerous. But sweetness is a clever liar. In time, doctors began to notice patterns. Tiny coffins ordered too often, infants who never woke, a phrase whispered in grim hallways, the wasting of the children. It drifted through London like a cold draft, creeping into homes that thought themselves safe. And yet tonight, in the quiet warmth of this story, those shadows lose their sharpness. We look back not with fear, but with a kind of gentle distance, the way you might look at a storm long after it's passed, remembering only the sound of rain, not the wind that shook the windows. As you listen now, allow that distance to settle around you. Imagine the mother finally setting the bottle aside, taking her child into her arms, not to silence, but to comfort. Imagine her rocking slowly, the chair creaking like a sleepy lullaby. Imagine the oil lamp dimming as the last of its flame curls into a small whisper of light. Outside, the fog thickens. Inside, the world feels softer. And soon, the past dissolves, leaving only a calm so deep it feels like floating. Let yourself drift with it. Let the story fade into the edges of your thoughts. The strange medicines of history have no power here. Only rest remains, waiting for you gently, patiently, like a quiet hand reaching out through the centuries to guide you toward sleep.